Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's give it a second. As usual, my husband, who is a comedian, every time I do my lives, he tells me, welcome, welcome. He tells me, go break a vagina. Funny guy. Okay, today we're talking about the subject of flow on so many different levels, how it creates inflammation and what to do about it. If you're watching my live for the first time, welcome. I'm going to use slides so that you can save information for future reference. And the comments will be turned off while I'm doing my spiel, which will take around 15 minutes or so. And then I will open up the comments for any questions that you might have. I'll give it just another minute. Okay, well, let me get the slides, I think. Let's start. If you can hear me and see me, if you could give me a heart. Great. Welcome. So welcome to the session on endometriosis and flow on so many different levels. Today we are going to talk about some obvious things and also some things that your doctor probably never mentioned to you. So I'm going to turn the comments off. Great. All of the things that I'm talking about are part of a whole body approach to endometriosis that I believe in and that I practice. If you don't know who I am, my name is Anastasia Hackler, or my funny husband calls me Hack. I am Russian, so that kind of makes me a Russian hack, which is kind of scary. But I've lived in the United States for over 11 years, so I consider myself an American Russian. I'm also an endometriosis warrior. My own endometriosis healing journey started back in 2014, and after I found very effective ways to address my endo, I've been helping other women to relieve endometriosis symptoms for the past almost 2 years with a system of gradual daily activities that I call 90-day endohackplan. Here you can see my accolades. I'm not going to bore you with those. It's enough about me. Let's talk about the topic. When I say the word flow, the first thing that that comes to mind is probably your period flow, right? But I have to disappoint you here. We're not going to talk about our periods. This is a topic for a different day. Today, I would like to show you your body from a little bit of a different point of view. Everything that happens in our body has a domino effect. One thing always affects something else. There is no such thing as just a standalone action or function, right? As you know, endometriosis is a highly inflammatory condition. Yet inflammation is our body's natural immune system response to start healing. To start healing if something has been damaged, or if our body thinks it has been damaged, or if something triggered our body to prepare to heal something that might get damaged, right? So today we are talking about different kinds of flow and how they create this inflammation if they're not addressed. Okay. There are different theories on why endometriosis is spreading and reoccurring even after being surgically removed. In my experience, over all of these years, the common ground for that is the bad flow. But what bad flow, Anastasia? We are going to talk about all of that today. The first thing that we need to look at is the flow of nutrients and bacteria out of our gut through the leaky gut membranes, which creates tremendous inflammation in our belly area, in our abdomen, and of course it creates adhesions. The subject of leaky gut is very interesting. It makes sense, but it is extensive. So next Saturday, I will do a whole live on that. Another bad flow that we need to avoid is angiogenesis. Endometriosis tissue has properties that it can grow its own new blood vessels so that this new blood flow feeds its growth. It's kind of like a cancer tumor, right? Even though endometriosis is not considered cancer, it does have this property of a cancer tumor. So to prevent or to not let it grow, we need to avoid things that cause angiogenesis, things like dairy milk, soy proteins, and too much protein, because protein builds things. If we include colorful foods in our diet, and I'm talking about fruits and vegetables, not M&Ms, colorful foods contain natural pigments that fight angiogenesis. The more colors you eat every day, the better, the deeper those colors are. You can also add nutrients like EGCG from green tea or resveratrol from green grapes. I prefer those two as supplements because some endometriosis women can react to caffeine in green tea, and green grapes have a lot of histamine, so we also kind of react to those. So those in forms of supplements are better. Another bad flow that we need to address is the absence of flow. When we have no bowel movements or they are so irregular, we have problems with peeing. I had a whole life on endometriosis, constipation, and water. If you missed that, send me a message because I accidentally deleted it from my account, so I will send you a link to that video. I'm not going to talk about those. Those are the obvious things that create a lot of inflammation. The things that are very often overlooked and not even mentioned by the doctor are, for example, spinal flow or the spinal alignment. In our busy lives, we all have spinal problems. Before, like several years, tens of years ago, only old people had back problems. Now, endometriosis warriors complain of lower back pain, sciatica pain, neck pain, headaches. All of those can also stem from the spinal misalignment, because the life of an endometriosis warrior, I don't have to tell you that, is spent mostly in a fetal position, suffering from pain, or slouching on the couch with a heating pad on your lap and a phone in your hands, or we take our laptops in bed with us because we have to work and we are in pain. So all of that contributes to spinal misalignment. The things that you can do to improve that is incorporate daily stretches in your routine. When you stretch your spine, it's kind of like decompression. It makes the spine flexible and it prevents pinched nerves and all kinds of blockages. If you are not doing daily exercises to improve your posture, you should, or just pay attention to how your posture is, because it is very, very important. Chiropractic care is also good if you have access to it. If you don't, you can incorporate different exercises. I have some in my endohackplan program. I call them an in-home chiropractor that I've been using myself for many years. But ask any chiropractor. The health of the spine can affect things like fertility, incontinence, your pelvic floor, headaches, and so many other things. It's not just about the back pain. Another thing that is very often overlooked is our lymphatic flow. I have been studying lymphatic system for over 3 years now. I actually started looking into it when my husband was diagnosed with lymphatic system cancer, lymphoma. And while helping him on his journey, I also found a lot of things that I applied on my endometriosis healing journey as well. Lymphatic system is basically the core of our immune system. It's like this dump truck that goes from station to station collecting cellular waste, toxic waste, all kind of bacterial waste, and then it dumps it out through blood flow, sweat, and other bodily fluids. Every day our body is creating 50 ounces of lymph, and that lymph needs to move. So it's to illustrate this point, imagine a pool. So every day our body adds 50 ounces of fresh water into the very stagnant pool so that that stagnant water drains out. It has to happen every single day. But sometimes it doesn't. The peculiarity of our lymphatic system is that it is not in a loop like our blood flow. It is a linear system. It only travels one way. Our lymphatic flow can only go from the bottom up. So it is so hard to do because it doesn't have a pump like our blood flow does. It has a heart. Lymphatic system does not have that pump. And it also has to fight the gravitation, the gravity every single day. The only way the lymph will move is if you have regular muscle contractions, deep breathing, and you have enough water in your body. Because what happens, have that picture of the pool again in your mind. When we don't drain our lymphatic fluid properly, if it doesn't move fast enough or good enough, that fresh lymph gets into the pool, but the bad stagnant lymph doesn't drain, the pool overflows, and all of that immune system waste gets reabsorbed back into your body, and we get things like acne. Acne is the primary sign that your lymphatic system is in trouble. We also get sluggish metabolism. We start gaining weight. Most of the time it is water weight, or I call it like an inflammation weight. We get swelling, we get fatigued, we get very strong sweat odor even if we're not doing anything. Cellulite, yeast infections, you name it, itching, a lot of inflammation, and adhesions follow inflammation. The very important thing to mention here is that there is a study showing that endometrial-like cells can travel within the lymphatic fluid. So if you are not draining your lymph properly, and it sits in one spot for a long period of time, those endometrial-like cells can get reabsorbed into your body and implant wherever they are. That is one of the theories why women end up with the lung endometriosis. Because remember, lymphatic fluid travels from bottom up. So if it originates somewhere in the abdominal cavity, with the lymphatic flow, it goes up and sits somewhere near the lungs, gets reabsorbed and implanted. So lymph has to move every day. So what do we do to make sure that this happens? Well, first of all, water. We need to drink at least 50 ounces of water to support our lymphatic system. Tea, soda doesn't count. This has to be clean water. This is a must. Or otherwise, you don't even have fresh water coming into your pool. Avoid eating after 8 p.m. What happens is, at that time, our digestive system is pretty much asleep already. So if we eat a lot, that food is just sitting in our stomach, rotting, because it's wet there and it's dark there, and that poisons our lymphatic system. It kind of overcrowds it. Move, move, and move. Have an exercise routine that you do every day so that you have those muscle contractions. There are specific lymphatic exercises that I use, and I use it in my program as well. I have a video of those in my account. If you go to the video section and just scroll through, you can find those. If you're having trouble finding them, let me know and I will direct you. Practice deep breathing. It has to be an everyday routine. And tummy breathing, diaphragm breathing, it has to be very deep so that we create that pump to pump our lymphatic fluid. Practice routines also to relax our muscles, because what happens is when we are in pain, the abdominal muscles get very, very tense. There is a lot of spasms going on there, and spasms also restrict the lymphatic flow. So do tight clothes. So also be careful with wearing tight clothes. We need to avoid using aluminum-based deodorants, because the aluminum as an element actually blocks the outflow of our lymph from the biggest dump site that we have on our body, which is the armpits. Consuming a lot of fiber moves lymphatic fluid. So basically, when you are eating those colorful vegetables and fruit to stop the angiogenesis, the development of new blood vessels so that endometriosis can grow, you also help your lymphatic system with the fiber, and you help your constipation. So that's a domino effect for you again. If you need additional support for your lymphatic system, there are lymphatic system stimulants like chlorophyll, peppermint, licorice, raspberry leaf, and so many more. Those need to be used only if your bowel movements are regular and if you do consume a lot of water and regularly. So I hope that this makes sense. The next contributor that I would like to mention here is a little controversial. Doctors don't really care for it, but it is so important and it is so yucky. But we have to talk about it. It is the flow, unfortunately, the flow of parasites, the parasitic flow to and from our reproductive organs. Let's face it, guys, we all have parasites, especially if we have pets, if we eat fresh fruits and vegetables, if we handle meat in our kitchen, or if we like sushi and eat raw fish, if we walk barefoot or never take the shoes off in our house from the outside. Those suckers need to be addressed because they travel. And when they travel, they can transfer a piece of our tissue with them. And if that tissue happens to be an endometrial-like cell, this is how our endometriosis also travels. You can address those every day with eating anti-parasitic foods, or I strongly recommend doing a parasite cleanse yearly, at least once a year. Checking for parasites is totally pointless, because the conventional medicine pretty much checks for parasites only in stool, but there are so many different kinds that occupy our organs, our tissues, I mean, you name it. And it's hard to test for whichever ones you have, so it makes sense just to target kind of all of them with a parasitic cleanse. The spring is coming. I always do mine in the spring because everything is waking up after winter, even the parasites. And in my stories, when I start on my protocol, I will share with you guys what I do, why I do it, what happens, and stuff like that. The main thing that I wanted to mention here about the parasites is, and I've seen this several times in my line of work, some parasitic infections can present with endometriosis symptoms. So there are patients that even have laparoscopy done to get diagnosed with endometriosis because they have all of the endometriosis symptoms, and there's nothing. So parasitic infections can mimic endometriosis symptoms sometimes. And the last but not the least, the flow that we have to pay attention to is the flow of our mind. We need our thoughts to be on our side. We need our thoughts to match our healing goals. I don't know if you remember the live that I did on healing sabotage. You can find it. It was posted recently in my account. You can refer to that. But to our brain, it doesn't matter whether what we're thinking about is actually happening or if it's something that we're just thinking about it. or visualizing it. We have 60,000 thoughts every day plus. So what do you mostly think about? Is it helping on your journey or is it hurting your journey? To kind of help you with this question, if you were to put all of the thoughts that you have for the day in a book, would that book be about healing endometriosis with action plans and routines and focus on your health? Or would that book be about a hero called endometriosis that makes your life miserable? It is a very deep question, but on our healing journey, we absolutely have to dig deeper, because that's the only way our healing can take root. I hope this information was helpful. I hope you learned something new. If this was something that you knew all along, let me know. But flow is the nature of energy. Flow is another name for life. We have different types of flow in our body on all kinds of different levels. So take care of your flow, create a domino effect, and who knows, maybe you will even flush that endometriosis sucker out. Thank you for watching. I will open the comments so that you can ask your questions if you have any. Let me move that away. Welcome, welcome. While you are typing your questions, I am going to remind you that next Saturday we're talking about leaky gut. Let me know if you want me to do a live on parasites. I can do that. I can even try to find a doctor that, like as a functional doctor, that can tell you more about parasites. The endometriosis group, 90-day endohackplan, if you have any questions about that, because everything that I mentioned today is incorporated in that program, step by step, day by day. So it kind of makes it easier when you have a system in place. If you have questions on it, if you need a consultation to see if that program will work for you, I am also open for that. I don't see any questions. I hope everything made sense. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you next Saturday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.